Recently, I was rewatching the super criminally underrated 2019 flick Hustlers. It's a crime that director Lorraine Scarafia didn't win a Best Director Oscar. Her filmmaking craft is really superb, and J-Lo should have won a Best Actress Oscar. It makes sense that her hindquarters are in such good shape. J-Lo carried that whole dang movie by herself. Mwah. Amazing. Clearly, I had a lot of thoughts flowing through my head during the rewatch. The one that stood out over all the others was, obviously, the concept of matriarchy. What did you think I was thinking of? Get your mind out of the gutter. Who am I kidding? I'll meet you there later. There was a bit of discourse when the movie came out in regards to whether the movie is feminist or not. I think feminist isn't the right term. The more appropriate term is matriarchal. Don't worry, we'll get into definitions in the next section. I find it interesting how the movie has the head matriarchal figure be a Latin woman. I'm gonna make a bold claim right now that Latin folks, Latin society in general, is a matriarchy. There are different cultures within Latin culture that are specifically matriarchies, but in general, as a whole, despite your preconceived notions of Latin society, we are a semi-progressive matriarchy. I'll break it all down for you in this video. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, an important side note from me. Side note, using terms like matriarchy and feminist may make it seem like I have some kind of radical, all men are bad, all women are good, feminazi agenda. I am a feminist, but that is not my brand of feminism. Who has it worst? Men or women competitions don't help anyone or anything. Which gender is better? Dick measuring contests? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Oh my Lucy, I don't care. The mainstream brand of feminism we get is white, upper middle class feminism that excludes women of color, poor women, trans women, non-binary people, and men. Yes, controversially, I believe in some men's rights too. Toxic masculinity is just as, if not more damaging to men as it is to women. Maybe I'm a naive, hippie, unrealistic Pollyanna, but I do think we could come together across genders, orientations, and ethnicities to make the world better for everyone. However, since our current internet world of 2022 is nothing but hair on fire outrage culture where understanding and nuance is nowhere to be found, I guess we'll continue to waste time bickering at each other instead of working to make things better. It feels like my hope of unity and peace will be nothing more than just a pipe dream. We are living in hell, and I don't even have my man's Lucy to bring me joy. This is the worst simulation of all, Matrix. Let's just do this. Primer, sisterhood. Definitions. We are gonna define some terms here. Even though most folks watching this video know what these terms mean, they have been politicized in the last few decades. It's not to say that these terms are not completely free of politique. They're not. But I don't want y'all to check out before we really get into it. When there is a woke, politically correct agenda behind talking about anything gender, sexuality, race, ethnicity related, there's a tendency for folks' eyes to just glass over. And I'm hoping to avoid that. These definitions are from Merriam-Webster. Feminism, belief in and advocacy of the political, economic, and social equality of the sexes, expressed especially through organized activity on behalf of women's rights and interests. Patriarchy, social organization marked by the supremacy of the father in the clan or family, the legal dependency of wives and children, and the reckoning of descent and inheritance in the male line. A society or institution organized according to the principles or practices of patriarchy. Machismo, a strong sense of masculine pride and exaggerated masculinity. Matriarchy, a woman who rules or dominates a family group or state. A mother who is head and ruler of her family and descendants. A system of social organization in which descent descent and inheritance are traced through the female line. I love how these definitions feel a little political. Remember, these are academic definitions. I'm not sure in academia as a whole, but with my background as a film scholar, analysis yields different interpretations or conclusions depending on how you look at them. Let me give you a film analysis example. If you analyze Hustlers through queer theory, that will give you a different takeaway than if you use auteur theory. I'm pointing this out only so we are on the same page, that we are looking at matriarchies through an academic lens. A brown academic lens, but an academic lens nonetheless. There is no real agenda other than really looking at things honestly and maybe blowing up some stereotypes while we're here. Speaking of Segundo Sisterhood, matriarchies in Latin America, there is no way I can cover every detail of all the Latin Hispanic matriarchies. We are going to do a brief rundown to give you a better idea of how matriarchal and progressive Latin America actually is. In the indigenous populations mostly. Ciudad de las Mujeres. I like to think of this one as a makeshift Themyscira island. Themyscira is Wonder Woman's island, made by and for women. Only women? Located in Turbaco, Colombia, this small city is a refuge for women who are victims of crime, violence, sexual violence, and conflicts in Colombia. In the words of Diana Prince in Superman Red Son, it is only right that a place exists where women can be safe from their vulgarity and all-consuming lust. Amen, sister. Zapotec. This matriarchy is located in Juchitán de Zaragoza, Mexico. Women are in charge of doing retail type businesses here. Women and men in this society are seen as having different, equally important jobs and roles here. The most notable aspect of this society is that it has the muxe tradition. Muxe or mujer, I'm not exactly sure how it's said, is a third gender that is celebrated and embraced in this community. This society reminds me of one of the best characters of Doom Patrol, Danny the Street. A sentient street where people can live their truth free from guilt, side-eye, or judgment. Live your truth, familia, like the Zapotec muxe. See? Surprisingly progressive. Cuna, located in the San Blas Islands of Panama. This is another matriarchy where women are the breadwinners and mistresses of business. There are reports that it is such an honor to be a female. The males of that indigenous tribe like to dress in girl and women's attire. Wearing pretty clothes shouldn't be shameful to anyone. Bribri. This tribe is located in Limón, Costa Rica. Women are the breadwinners and the ones who inherit property. As a cool added fun fact, only women are allowed to make their special traditional chocolate drink. Chocolate. Tehuantepec, cousins to the Zapotec tribe. This matriarchy is located in the Isthmus area of southern Mexico. Tehuantepec women are not only breadwinners, but are also not pressured into getting married or staying married. They are completely 100% financially independent. They are best known for the way they dress, made popular by one Frida Kahlo.
Cultural appropriation?
Not in this case. Nashira, another refuge for women and other refugees located in southern Colombia. Women in need can live there at no cost to them while they get back on their feet. Females are making this small village as eco-friendly as possible. The women are the ones who make all the important decisions in this community. Sisters, doing it for those who need it the most. Noviado Cordillero. This society is located in southeast Brazil. All female run from religion to politics to commerce. This community has a cool origin story. Founded back in 1891 by Maria Senorina de Lima, who was run out of her town for having loose morals. De Lima joined forces with another woman who was also labeled as morally corrupt. They built this society together. Everyone who lives in and around there agrees that this community is so wonderful, only women could achieve this level of harmony on earth. That's beautiful. These are the better known Latin Hispanic matriarchies. I'm sure there are more than these that we talked about. If you guys know of other Latin Hispanic matriarchies, leave a comment and let me know. This section was about specific matriarchies. The next section is about the more abstract Hispanic Latin matriarchies. Well, not exactly abstract. I'd say it's more like a stealthy matriarchy. Machismo in Latin Hispanic society is way too fragile to be openly matriarchal. We'll talk all about it right now. Tercer, Sisterhood. Latin women rule the roost. Not always for the better. Admittedly, this section will be a touch more anecdotal than I would have liked. Why? Latin Hispanic folks are the least represented, studied, thought of ethnicity in the United States. There is no agreement if we are people of color or if we fall outside the stereotypes, if we are real Hispanic Latinos. All I have on this topic, even remotely scholarly, is an article from the NIH and an article from the New York Times from 1997. Whoops, 1977. Excellent job, y'all. Oh, and some articles from The Guardian, of all places. I know some folks would argue that a society doesn't qualify as a matriarchy if women don't hold any political, governmental positions. Let's go through a few examples of women breaking through the marble ceiling in Latin America decades before a woman was taken even remotely seriously here in the good old US of A. We start off with Isabel Perón being elected president of Argentina in 1974. Then it's Violeta Chamorro becoming president of Nicaragua in 1990. We move on to Mireya Mosco starting her presidency of Panama in 1999. Chile elected their first lady president, Michelle Bachelet, in 2006. We return to Argentina in 2007 for their next female president, Cristina Fernández de Kirchner. In 2010, Laura Chinchilla became president of Costa Rica. Dilma Rousseff made history in Brazil in 2011. The latest woman president in Latin America is Xiomara Castro, starting her tenure in Honduras in the year of our Lord 2022. That is 8 female presidents in Latin America to the 0 here in the cradle of progressive democracy, the USA. Not that I'm counting. I just think of all the conservative lady pundits who say that 1, women shouldn't be allowed to vote, and that 2, the women in third world countries like in Latin America are the ones in need of feminism, not in the US. We achieved something? I don't know. It's unclear. That tangent brought to you by laxatives. When you need to get crap out of your body and out of your life, choose laxatives.
Be careful with laxatives. They are not the best thing to take, especially when you're trying to lose weight. You might destroy a lot of pairs of pants. Now, back to our program, already in progress.
Aside from Latin America having a few female presidents, 16 Latin American countries have gender quotas. Sounds like a scary liberal agenda thing, but it just means that these countries are making a real effort to have better representation in government by women. Many people and places have recognized that women, not always, but for the most part, know what communities need in order to succeed. For the next generation to become productive members of society, for families and neighborhoods to be safe. There is this interesting dichotomy that exists in Latin America and with Latin Hispanic folks. Our culture is notorious for being sexist and machista, and it is. I'm not going to argue that. Femicide, violence against women, hate crimes against women in Latin America and Mexico in particular are at an all-time high. And yet, women hold a fair amount of political power in these countries. The only place that has more female representation is Scandinavia. How? Why? An article from The Guardian put it the best, I think. Women are divided into 2 categories: the sexual conquest and the motherly authority figures that are held in high regard. Many folks, men in particular, have a female figure whomst they ask for an opinion, know they are very smart, or know they can count on her to get them out of a jam. Also, like I pointed out in my video about going solterona, in many Latin Hispanic homes, the breadwinner, the one who that took care of you, the one that miraculously kept the family on the straight and narrow, was the mother. Many men abandon their families, and in machista culture, it is perfectly okay. Taking care of the family and the home is women's work anyway. Many of these badass women also become important pillars of the community. Without that woman or women, these communities would literally crumble. Knowing our badass moms got us and who knows how many other people through it, it makes sense that women would and do hold political power. We know, respect, and love our jefas. And yet, there should be more women in power and female presidents, shouldn't there? This is where I talk about how Latin Hispanic women, we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot. As respected and highly regarded as women are in Hispanic Latin society, machismo and sexism are still very prevalent. The matriarchy, I would argue, is largely responsible for this. Believe it or not, women are the ones who like to perpetuate and uphold machismo and sexism. Women will tell other women they have to get married and have babies. If, as a woman, you don't do that, then other women will judge and shame you. Women will tell men that it is not their job to do housework or take care of children. Women will tell young boys to be more tough and manly, and real men don't cry. Women will tell men that they should get married so they'll have someone else to do the cooking and cleaning for them. Women will shame young girls on how they look and how much they weigh because men don't want to marry an ugly fat girl. Women will tell other women that a cheating husband is okay because men will be men. Women will tell other women that abuse is okay because she must have done something to provoke it. Women will be against other women's rights. Women will be against the LGBTQ community. Not all women, but a lot of Hispanic women like to uphold machismo and sexism. They had to endure it, so all the women they know will have to endure it too. I know that last part sounded bleak, but don't lose all hope though. Luckily, the machismo and sexism is not a hard and fast rule. Women do take care of each other and their communities as previously established, but it feels like it's not enough to make huge monumental changes. Sprinkles of it already exist in Latin America. Women's rights, LGBTQ rights, more women taking political power. These are steps in the right direction. Hopefully, with older generations and their old ideas dying out, things will really get better and more progressive. For real, for real. I can't wait to dance on the grave of machismo. Conclusion. This might be a non sequitur, but if you're not Hispanic Latin, befriend a Hispanic Latin woman. You won't regret it. Do it even if you are Latin Hispanic. As sexist and racist as it might sound, Latin women will take care of you like no one else. As super racist and sexist, I am problematic. I just think of the ladies at the grocery store, little Latin shops, bakeries, etc., who are very nice and will look out for you. I don't know if it's a cultural thing or a biological thing, but there's this thing where a lot of us, me included, feel the need to mom most people. Is mom a verb? It is now. If you mom people, cool. If not, that's cool too. It's not a requirement. Tell me your thoughts on Latin Hispanic matriarchy in the comment section down below. Am I right or am I wrong or somewhere in between? Let me know. And of course, as always, salud, mi familia.